Hello everyone, my name is Vark and welcome back to the Ballad of the Iron Boars. Now last time we had just finished killing Hoggart the Weasel and unfortunately we lost poor Arnold in the final push against Hoggart himself. So we are down a man in the company, but we are also out of all the dry tutorial things. So we can actually stop and have some fun with the game. So I've been looking around the map here before I started recording. I've been looking for where I would like to start building relations with the towns and villages and the noble houses. Now, the reason I want to do that is because once a town has better relations with you, their prices, the prices that you buy things at from the town go down, and the prices you sell the things to the town go up. So I've been looking around here. If we zoom out here to the whole map, you can see that most of the towns are kind of clustered, or at least the density of towns is clustered around this left-hand side of the map. However, if we zoom in here and look at some of these towns, you'll notice that not many of them will produce trade goods, at least none of the small villages. Because the way you want to do trading, if you want to make money off trading, is you buy in the small villages and sell in the big cities. Now, most of the small villages around here are just not very useful. They don't have many trade goods or things like that. But if you look over here on the right, there are some actual rather good places. So like Helvik here has this surface iron vein. If you read that little tooltip there, it says that weapons will be cheaper and better quality in the next settlement, which would be Helvik since it's right next to it. So if we get good relations with Helvik, we get some good weapons for a cheaper price than say if we're buying from one of the castles. And then up here in Birkeland, they sell peat and they sell there it is. There's the peat pit and then there's a trapper's hut. Trapper's hut will produce furs that we can trade, and the peat produces bricks of peat, which we can also trade in. So if we come up here and we get good relations with these towns, we can get steady work out of contracts, and then on the side we can trade the trade goods we buy from here, and we can sell it in say Fellfest or Wolfenfest. Also, the same thing with towns below these two big cities. We have Eichendorf here, where we could buy some lumber, and Eichendorf will have good ranged people we could recruit. And then further south here we have Hohenbrook, which has a salt mine next to it and a workshop. Now these two, salt is a very good resource to trade in because people will pay through the nose to get salt at big cities. So I always find it a very reliable trade good, especially if you can get good relations with the town that produces it. The workshop would also mean that Hohenbrook has the prices of tools in Hohenbrook will also be less. So it's kind of looking like we're going to have to try and work our way over here to the right hand side of the map and start doing contracts over here. So that's what we're going to do to start this episode off. We're going to start heading north here and see if we can't work our way around there and find some work as we do it. Now, looking at the spoils from our battle with Hoggart, we can see we got a patched mail shirt, which is a decent set of armor to start with. You can see here the padded leather, has 10 more durability than the padded leather, with the same amount of fatigue. So we're definitely going to want Berengar, our frontline companion here, to wear the patched mail shirt because he'll get the best uses out of it, and then we just kind of spread his armor down the line. Now Jost here lost his helmet, so we might as well equip him with the full leather cap. And if you notice here, we also have some salt. So the first order of business is probably going to make a stop in Landstadt over here and sell off that salt and see if we can't hire a person to replace poor Arnold. So that's where we're going to start heading. As we go, you can kind of you can set the pathing to go and then not pay attention to your character as they travel and just kind of look around the map. But if you do that, you have a tendency to run into battles that you have no idea what's attacking you or even how many people, so it can end quite badly. It's always a good idea to keep an eye on where you guys are wandering. So like I said, we'll pull into Landstadt here and we'll see if we'll sell off this the salt, and we will worry about trying to find a replacement. So up here in the left, top left, now we're out of tutorials where we can accept contracts. Now you can only have one contract at a time. And the thing to know about contracts, so you see it's on the grayish brown background, and it only has the one skull. Now the grayish brown background means that it's a contract ordered by the town itself. Sometimes you can get contracts once your renown gets up, get contracts from the actual noble houses, and those always pay better, but they're always more dangerous as well. And the number of skulls it gives you a general idea about how dangerous the contract is. It goes from 1 to 2 to 3. So a 1 skull contract might be a good thing to pick up. But for first here, let us get to selling off some equipment we don't need. Now, like I said, you can see here that salt is normally worth about 340, but the city here will pay 437 for one thing of salt. So if this is what we got from Hoggart, but if we'd bought it, we'd be making nearly $100, 100 crowns of profit per thing of salt. So like I said, salt is always a good bet if you're looking to trade resources. Now, we don't need the butcher's knife. I find that they aren't very useful. I've actually never seen the stage mushrooms. Interesting. Yeah, I've never seen that for sale in shops, so that's interesting. I've put a decent amount of time in this game, but I would say I've only ever gotten to like mid-game. I've never actually progressed from mid-game to end-game, because there's a lot in this world that wants to kill you and is very capable of doing so, so you need to be careful. So we need to get someone to replace Arnold. So let's see here who is available. We got militiamen who are generally pretty good. He would start at level 2. Unfortunately, he would cost most of our stash of crowns, so I don't think we're going to end up hiring Alfred here. Considering we're hiring someone to do the two-handed axe, this Gerhard the Outcast here might be a good idea. He is a wildman, which means he gets experience slower, but they have higher resolve, higher hit points, and higher max fatigue, and they're generally pretty good at melee combat. So I think we're going to go ahead and go with that. We'll hire Gerhard the Outcast here. We'll go ahead and take a look at him. So he is tough, which gives him plus 10 hit points. He is sure-fitting, which gives him plus 5 melee defense. So, and his starting melee skill is 55. So yes, he is decent, very decent at melee combat. So he is a good pickup. We'll go ahead and equip him with that spare piece of armor. Now we need to get 2 helmets, one for Gerhard and one for Emmerich here, so that they're not wandering into battle without anything on their head. That is a very good way to get yourself killed. Now we don't need the other woodcutter's axe, and we don't need the leather wrap, so we'll go ahead and sell those off. Now we'll probably end up buying. We'll buy the full Akinon cap here, and then we'll buy the Akinon cap. And now I could equip these 2 with it, but these 2 are not going to be getting. Well, Gerhard will be getting combat. He'll get the cap, but we need to replace some of this weaker head armor up front before we equip it to the guys in the back, who won't be in direct melee combat as much. So we'll do that, and I'm just checking here to see. We need some food. We could probably use some more tools as well. So let's pick up some ground grains here, because we don't have a whole lot of money to spend. And we'll pick up 1 thing of tools because it's not too badly priced. Tools normally go for about 200, and they're selling for 250 here, so that's not terrible. Could be better, but it could be worse. Here we can see some of the different buildings in town. I didn't explain this when we first got here, but it's all right. We have an armorer here. If we look in the armor real quick, you can see he offers much better equipment than what we could find in the market, but is very expensive. We have the temple. The temple here, you can pay money to immediately get rid of injuries that your guys are suffering. You have the barber in case you want to customize what your guys look like. The tavern. The tavern's an interesting thing. You can pay around for your men, which can make them put them into good spirits. And what good spirits means is that they have a chance at battle start to start with confident morale, which can have its uses, but I often don't end up paying for it. And then you can get news and rumors for the patrons of the tavern. So here, you can see here that they burned free at the stake last week. Some witch hunter did, just appeared one day, accused of sorcery and whatnot, and had her burned. Now, this isn't very useful. It doesn't have anything that we can use. But sometimes it will point you in the direction of outposts, like bandit outposts out in the wilderness, that you can go and raid if you have the manpower and the equipment. And then it can tell you where people are hiring or where contracts are for mercenaries. So it's always a good idea to pop into the tavern if the town has one and just see what the rumor is. So we hired people, we got some armor, we got some equipment, and so let's see what this contract is. Now, I'll go ahead and read this real quick. We got the Walrum of Lawton Stats turns the apple in his hand. Asks us if we ever lost anything, something we loved. He's not some woman, because I have. Thieves stole the lockbook from me. How they managed to get beyond my guards is well beyond me, but I know if I set you on them, I'll be having what is rightfully mine back where it belongs. Isn't that right? Or I've been misled as to the quality of your services. So, this type of contract is, we will come out of the town, we will see a trail of footprints leading off into the wilderness. We'll follow those, and there will be a group of bandits at the end that we'll need to fight and kill to get back this guy's stolen item. Now, after you're interested in a contract and you talk to him, you have a chance to haggle for how much you're getting paid. Now, you can always haggle twice for better pay, which I always try and do, and there's a couple different ways you can get paid. As you can see here, he's offering to give us 110 crowns in advance and 180 again when the job is done. Now, when they offer you both like this, if you haggle for more in advance or more in completion, you'll always get more total than what you had before, but it will reduce sometimes the amount you get when it's done if you're haggling for advance, or how much you'll get more when it's done, but a little bit less when you advance. So I always like to get more on completion, because I feel that you'll get offered more when the job is done than if you're trying to haggle more for it in advance. So we'll go ahead and do twice. There you can see accepted. We went to 110 crowns in advance and 250 when it's done. Like I said, you can always do two. If you try and do more than that, you get a random chance that it'll work, if they'll refuse, or they can just refuse you entirely and the contract goes away. So you want to be careful when you're haggling. But like I said, two you can always do. So he's kind of refused any more than that. So it's just a one skull contract. I'm alright getting paid 360 for it. So we'll go ahead and accept. And here it'll say, what the terms of the contract are. And here you can either accept it, or you can just walk away and leave the contract there. If you walk away, you can always come back a little bit later. I think the contract stays for like a day or two before it actually disappears. So you can come back and you accept it at a later time. But we're going to accept this now. You can see here we need to follow the tracks and return the man's lockbox. So we'll accept this contract. Another good thing to check when you're going out to do a contract is you want to check to see if you guys have any injuries, but you also want to check to see what their HP levels are at and what their equipment and durability is at before you actually get into any fights. Because if you get into a fight and all your people are like half health or below, I mean, you're just going to die really quickly. So here we want to follow the track southeast. So looking here, I can only see the one set of footprints. So this is probably the set of footprints belonging to the thieves. So we're going to go ahead and follow these down south and see if we can't find this group of thieves. Normally they wander out into the wilderness, but they don't often like to wander up into the mountains either. So there's our group of thieves. You can see it has the spinning coin, so we know that that's who we need to talk to. Now it says that you can see here it's thieves, and there's 7 of them, and it's only bandit thugs. It just says many bandit thugs. So that's a decent fight. Like, thugs are not very hard to fight. We'll probably want to camp for a bit though, because some of my guys were not at full HP, but we will attack them before evening or night falls. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now, sometimes with this encounter, it's always not straightforward. Sometimes you'll come across the bandits. Like here, straightforward. We just found the bandits and we're going to fight them and kill them to get the lockbox back. But sometimes you'll find them when they're in the transaction to a third party. And that third party, all the times I've done, has always been a necromancer. And that makes the fight a lot more difficult, because he will revive the dead bandits and as zombies, and then you have to kill them, twice, 3 times over sometimes. Depends how long it takes to kill the necromancer. But let's focus in here. So here we are in swamp territory. The unfortunate thing about swamp territory is that it is not good ground. You have less melee defense, range defense, and melee and range attack when you're on any swamp terrain. Now it gets really bad if you're in the water, but so like if we tried to find it, like if we set the shield wall up here, we would be at a disadvantage because they would be on the actual cobblestone road, which is the good terrain. So looking at the terrain here, I think the most strategic thing to do would be pull back to this little patch of island here. that would force them to come up into the bad terrain as well. And some of them, since it's only too wide across, we'd probably set up our shield wall right here. Some of them would end up in the water, which make them easy picking. So we will start pulling back to this island here, and we will fight them there. So this is part of the shield wall, but we are just doing a general retreat here. Also, if I'll show you right here, traveling through swamp terrain is generally more tiring than other terrain. So once we get back to my turn, so say here, it takes 3 AP and 6 fatigue to traverse this terrain. Normally, some is different. You got the muddy terrain here, and then you got the actual grass, and then the water is even worse. The water takes 14 fatigue to traverse, so you really want to be careful about how you set things up while when you're fighting in the swamp, because terrain can really work against you if you're not careful. So here, like I said, we want to set up the shield wall here, preferably if able to. So we'll pull Ludolf here, our archer, back. He doesn't have a shot yet, but they'll be coming forward. So he'll wait and wait for people to come into range. Now, they probably, well, I was hoping they wouldn't come into contact and actually fight us here, but it's not a terrible place to fight either. We have a little choke point here. Not as tight as what I wanted, but it's not bad either. But there you can see at the malices we have our characters on bad terrain, so he has less chance to hit. But it's generally evened out because both you and the target are on bad terrain, so that just kind of evens itself out. So looking here, we definitely want to try and take out this two-handed axe before he gets a chance to strike at us. So we'll go ahead and we'll focus our attacks in on him. And Emmerich is a badass apparently, and just strikes him probably in the face is what happened there. Yeah, he hit him in the face and just instantly killed the two-handed axe. So that's always nice when that happens. So now the rest of them will come forward. Now I don't really want to step forward with Berengar here because I'd like to kind of funnel them into this choke point if possible. So considering they're probably going to come in range and attack him, Berengar will just throw the shield wall up so he has more defenses and wait to see if anyone actually approaches him. Now Bernhard here, I will probably throw him down here, and so the enemy line will kind of snake around this way. Excuse me. You always want to leave space for your two-handed axe guy to come in through the shield wall and actually get strikes off, but you never really want to leave him in a place where he can get surrounded, because since he doesn't have a shield, he can get picked off quite easily. So we'll wait and see if anyone comes down to Bernhard so he can get a strike in. Now Jost here, he's feeling confident, and he has a good chance to hit this bandit thug in front of him, so we'll go ahead and go take a stab. Fortunately he misses. And since Jost here is kind of at the forefront of the shield wall, you can see here he can get surrounded by more people than say Bernhard here. We're going to want to throw out the shield wall with the rest of his points so he can block some more. So we're waiting to see if more people come forward. Ludolf here, he has some decent shots, so we'll go ahead and fire one into the crowd here, see if we can't hit something. He managed to hit, did completely destroy this guy's armor, did some decent damage, and also give him an injury. This is Emmerich. I had way with him because sometimes you want to reposition your polearm guys, and it looks like I want to reposition down here so he has the maximum amount of people he can target. They're not coming forward just yet, so we're going to end our turn. Bernhard here. He'll probably... It's not good to build up more fatigue than you need, because it's very dangerous once your men start running out of fatigue, and then they can only do one action a turn. So Ludolf here, we're going to reload. Now you can see here, if I try and shoot somebody right in the middle of the shield wall, I have a good chance to hit my own characters. So that's not really what we want to do. So I'll probably take the shot at the bandit thug here. Now it's only a 22% chance to hit, which isn't great, but since the line of fire is blocked by 2 of his own men, even if we miss him, we have a good chance to hit one of his buddies here. So we'll take that shot. Fortunately, we still miss. Jost here takes a shot, and now we're at Gerhard. And he's a good chance to hit. Now, the unfortunate thing is that this thug has riposte on, so if he misses, he's going to take a free shot back in return. But 65% is pretty good. We'll go ahead and take that. Fortunately, he misses, but the enemy missed us in return, so it's not terrible. And we're just going to start working our way through the bandits here. Now, people with flails, you have to be careful of, because the unique property of the flail is that it ignores, the basic strike ignores defense bonuses added by shields. So when you have one of these against your shield wall, generally they're one of the guys you want to focus down first, because they have a better chance of just hitting your guys through the shield wall. So you always want to keep an eye on what weapons people are using, because that means, you know, they behave differently. So here we're just, like I said, trying to chop through the shield wall here, focusing fire wherever possible so we can try and get rid of as many people as fast as possible. So again, we're going to take this low shot here and hope we can't hit somebody. Now he's actually on target there. Fortunate thing is that it got blocked. So Bernard here, like I said, we want to try and work our way through the guys with the flails first, because they are dangerous. Gernard here, go ahead and keep chopping through. Now, I should follow my own advice sometimes. I have a tendency not to do that, but like I said, since Jost here was kind of on this, the point of the shield wall, he is getting more attacks, and they're slowly chopping through all, well, they've chopped through all his armor. He's about to die. So we want to be careful with that if we can. Now, trying to decide whether or not I want to step Berengar forward here. If I don't, the bandit thug with the two-handed axe is just going to step forward next turn and attack us anyways. So he probably should step forward and try and get some strikes in. Now, he has a better chance to hit this guy, so that's what we'll go for. Now, Emmerich here, like I said, you want to focus fire and kill off people, because if you kill off people, it's one less person attacking you. And it can also weaken the morale if you kill the bandit thug's buddies. So you definitely want to try and finish someone off whenever possible. Now, I don't really want to step him forward, because that would just give them strikes at him. So we'll pass here. Now, unfortunately, Ludolf doesn't really have very good targets to shoot at. Just managed to avoid death there. Now, I could go for strikes. I could also try, and one of the skills you have with the shield is the knockback ability. I could try and knock the bandit thug back here, but then he would just still be able to step forward and attack. So that's probably not the best thing to do either. But I don't want to take a two-handed axe to the face either, so let's go ahead and take a strike at the bandit thug here and put up the shield wall. Now, most likely what that means, since the bandit thug is going to have a low chance to hit, he's probably just going to go ahead and use the two-handed axe to chop through this man's shield. But it's better for him to chop through the shield than chop through my guy's head, so we'll go from there. We'll take the shots here. Like I said, that's what happened. Now, we want to finish people off if possible. Looks like we have a better chance to kill this guy, so we'll go ahead and step up and take the shot. Now here you can see this guy is fleeing. So we shouldn't throw any more attacks his way, because next turn he's most likely going to try and run and end up getting himself killed that way. Now Gerhard, since this guy's fleeing, I'm confident stepping him forward and trying to take this shot. He manages to go ahead and knock him down. And like I said, this character will most likely flee next turn. Well, they're all fleeing now. A good thing to note is when enemies are fleeing, you are free. Their zone of control no longer applies, so you're free to walk around them. So we're going to walk just over here so that when they try and flee, they have more zones of control they have to dash through in order to get out. Now, we could let them go, but since we have them all surrounded and they're all fleeing, there's no point not to try and run them down. So we'll do that real quick. We'll take... Okay. It's always dangerous to shoot at someone who's surrounded by your people, even if you have a clear line of sight, because it can still miss and scatter into your own people. And I have had several unfortunate, let's call them accidents, where my archer has gone ahead and shot one of my own guys dead. So you always want to be careful with those, because it can go badly. A good thing to keep in mind about this game is things can always go bad. Things can go bad to worse very quickly in this game. So here you can see we have people getting level ups. That's what this little arrow indicates. And here you can take, a look at it looks here, Gerhard performed very well for his first outing. He got the most damage done. Yes, the most damage done in battle. So it was overall a very good battle. We took some damage, but we only took one actual injury. So we are good to go. So here you get a little event blurb. You know, the battle is done. The lockbox is easy to find amongst the corpses of your enemies. You should probably return to War Room of Lore and Stat for your just reward. So now we need to return and get our pay. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at our equipment and level our guys up. So once we get back to Lowenstadt, we'll probably want to look for another wooden shield for Berengar here. The only piece of equipment that looks like we need to replace is Ludol's dagger here. So he starts with a small knife in his pocket, which he uses if someone gets up in melee combat. But we can replace it with the actual dagger here, which has a higher maximum damage cap and is more effective against armor. So there's no reason not to replace that. Now let's go see it and look at leveling up our guys here. So like I said, when you level someone up, they get a random assortment of bonuses to their skills, and they have a higher chance to get higher numbers in skills they have stars next to. So, but it's always a good idea to keep in mind what you want this character to do. Now Berengar here, he's our companion. He starts off with decent melee attack, and that's about it. That's about the only thing special with him. He also starts off with good morale, but Berengar is going to be used to anchor our shield wall most of the time. So the things we want to level up with him is we want to focus on leveling up his melee defense. It's always good to level up melee attack because it gives him a better chance to hit. But the other very important skill to level up is fatigue. For with Berengar, almost every level I will be leveling up his fatigue so that we can equip him with heavier armor and he can move around and fight longer in heavier armor. So we'll go ahead and take that. Now we have a +3 for melee skill here, so we'll take that. Now I always like to level up melee defense on my shield wall men, but since he only has a +1 here, it might be better, and it probably will end up taking the bonus to hit points, so that if he does get hit, he has a little bit more wiggle room before he dies. So let's do that. You can hit cancel here to refund the points, and you can look at it again. It doesn't re-randomize the skills, but you can reorder it if you kind of change your mind about it. But that's alright. Now, in addition to getting more stats when people level up, you also get a perk point. Now you can see here the different perk points, the different levels, I should say, for the perk points. You got level 1, level 2, level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, for this first one, it's always, like I said, always a good idea to keep in mind what the character is, what he's going to be doing. So Berengar is going to be our shield wall. Now, there are 2 perks I always get for my shield wall guys. It kind of depends on their different skills. Now, you get Colossus here, which gives you 25% more hit points, and it also reduces the chance to sustain an injury when you actually take damage. Or I like to get them Recover. Now what Recover does is it takes their whole turn, but it reduces the accumulated fatigue they have by 50%. And that's always good, especially for people who have really high fatigue. So say he has up to like A fatigue, instead of just reducing the fatigue by 15 per round, we can just spend a round and drop down 40. And then he can continue on for a while. So like for my shield guys, I always generally go for Recover. So we'll go ahead and pick that up. Now we got Bernhard here. We'll go ahead and level him up. Now Bernhard is a little bit of a different case here. Since he has a good chance to increase his range skill when he levels up, and he doesn't really have a great chance to increase his melee skill, he will most likely end up in a skirmisher type of role. And what I mean by that is he's just going to end up dashing around the edges of combat, and he's going to have some thrown weapons. So we're going to want to increase his range skill. He has a good role here for melee defense, so we'll take that. And we'll also probably take the fatigue. Since he's going to be running around the edges of combat a lot, he's definitely going to want that. Now, for skirmishers, I generally like to take up fast adaptation. Now what fast adaptation does is you get a stacking plus 7% chance to hit when you attack someone and you miss. And then that bonus is reset when you actually take a hit. So it's also good to have on him since he has a little melee skill. So that's what we'll take for Bernhard. Jost here, we'll go ahead and take the bonus to the melee attack. Jost is most likely going to end up being in the shield wall right next to Bernhard. So we'll go ahead and level him up like we did Bernhard here. And we'll take the bonus to melee attack, melee defense, and the fatigue. Now Ludolf, of course, is our ranged character. He has a good chance to get bonus to his ranged attack. Now, as a ranged character, he often is going to take shots, which is why they gave him this bonus to ranged defense, and we're going to generally want to take that so that he can try and dodge some of the return fire. Now, for ranged characters, I generally like to keep their initiative high so that they can take shots at people before they actually get into the shield wall. Now, for my ranged characters, I generally like to take the Pathfinder one, since they end up walking around a lot. They lose less fatigue by walking, or they gain less fatigue by walking, and it reduces the amount of action points required to change height levels. It removes the additional cost to change height levels that is associated with moving. And since ranged characters always get that bonus to hit if they're higher up, it's always good to have on your ranged characters. So there we go, we've leveled people up, and we'll continue the walk back to Lowenstadt. Lonstott, my apologies. I have a hard time pronouncing some of these names, I'll be honest with you. The studio who makes this game is based in Germany, so many of the names have a Germanic flavor to them, and I am not 100% sure on how to pronounce some of that stuff, so if I butcher some of these things, you will just have to forgive me. So, we got our pay. It's not a whole lot of pay, but for a starting contract, it's not terrible. And we'll go ahead and start continuing our journey up and around here. We'll take a stop here in Jederberg and we'll see what they have for sale. We could probably, now we're decent on tools. We do need some more provisions. And we're also just generally on the outlook for more work. More work that's not going to get us killed. One of the keys to playing on Iron Man mode is to limit the amount of risks you take, because if you take some of these riskier jobs, the jobs that pay more, but the enemies are harder, a lot of the times you're going to die. Or if you don't die, things are going to be very bad, and they're going to leave you in a very poor position afterwards. So there I just kind of sold off some of the stuff we don't need. I sold off the 2 bucklers, the knife, and the damaged spear. I'm also probably going to sell off the short sword. The tree limb is interesting. One, the tree limb is an orcish weapon that the barbarians will sometimes start with, just because it has a little bit more heft to it. But it really tires people out to use it. So I don't think we're going to use the tree limb, so we'll go ahead and get it sold. Now, I did buy some bread already to get our food stocks back up, and they have a very good price on tools here. So we're going to go ahead and pick up the tools. Now, we need to pick up one of these wooden shields to Berengar, so we'll go ahead and pick that up and equip it with him. Or equip him with it, I should say. And so this is one of the other tutorials that will pop up as you go about the game. So what this one introduces the renown mechanic, and he just explains that until you make a name for yourself, your company, the Iron Boars, won't be getting any high-paying or very difficult work, and we definitely won't be getting much work from the noble houses. But once we start making a name for ourselves, we'll start getting these better jobs. And he also puts in that once you do contracts for a town, they will start liking you more. And if they like you more, they're more likely to have contracts in the town. They will have, like I said, the better prices. More people will want to be recruited from there. So let's go ahead and take a look, because it doesn't hurt to take a look at what people are saying. So this one, Matt is asking us if we believe in monsters, and in this people generally, superstition is not really have a place in this world, because there are monsters out there. There are goblins, there are orcs, and this one is most likely going to be dire wolves. Now, for the dire wolves, I haven't quite understood if the dire wolves are werewolves or if they are just, like dire wolves from Game of Thrones, or just giant wolves. But either way, they are very dangerous creatures. Now, this is a 2-skull quest. We should be able to do this, but like I said, it's very dangerous. Dire wolves are very dangerous. So I'm going to leave that there for now. I haggled for more money and got more money both times. So let's take a look at our equipment durability and health points here. So here you can see Jost is not recovered. He's still below half. And so we will probably take that job because the direwolves are dangerous, but they are quite predictable since they are animals. So you can generally get a good position on them. But what we're going to do here, we're going to camp until tomorrow. Let our people repair their equipment, get their health totals back up, and then we'll take this job and see how it goes. Now, while I was sitting here not paying attention, we got attacked by something. I don't know what it is. I don't know how much there is. And while you're in positions like this, so it's direwolves. It is not the direwolves for the contract, because those don't spawn until you actually take the contract, but they are... It looks like there's only 3 of them. Direwolves have very high initiative values, which is why you saw them all go first before my characters. So there's only 3 of them, so it shouldn't be terrible. The unfortunate thing is it's night, so Ludolf here is not going to be much use at all. He's very inaccurate at night, but he'll take his pot shots here. Now what we're going to do here is you want to focus fire as much as possible. We'll step Bernhard here. Now, like I said, the wolves are very predictable. And what I mean by that is they like to come in and charge people. So Bernhard here is probably going to put up his spear wall. Now what spear wall does is that when a character enters his zone of, you can't activate it while there's anyone in your zone of control. But after you activate it, anyone who then enters your zone of control, you get a free attack with a spear. Now if the attack hits, you push them back. And with the wolves, often if you're lucky, they will just completely impale themselves on you, on your spears, and will just kill themselves trying to get to you. Now up here, Berengar is probably going to move north here to this area to kind of prevent this direwolf from just running around and getting to my my back line. So we'll move Berengar there. Direwolves are also difficult to hit. So I'm debating whether or not I want to try and take this shot. It'd probably be safer to put up the shield wall. Gerhard here we'll put here. I don't really want to move him out here because we'll just wait for him to come to us. Jost here, we definitely want to put up the shield wall, and then he has the AP to take the free shot. Manage to hit. Direwolves don't have a whole lot of armor, so you can get through their armor quite quickly. We're going to try and focus fire this guy down. We got him to wavering, which is good. So there, like I said, direwolves can be quite predictable, and you can put them where they will just impale themselves upon your spear. Now the other real dangerous thing about direwolves is that they get 3 attacks a turn if they don't have to move. And the other thing is that if they kill someone, they get some action points back and will just continue rampaging. So Gerhard here, he doesn't have a good chance to hit. We'll probably bring Bernhard down here, so we're going to pass with him and wait till we can get that surrounded bonus. We'll continue to try and get through these direwolves here. Now, my general rule for my shield wall versus direwolves is that if they're surrounded by 2, I generally like to keep the, or if they have 2 in contact with them, I like to keep the shield wall up. And since that is not the case here, we'll go ahead and take the strikes here. We'll try and get this guy. Now Jost here, this character, this direwolf is probably either going to come here or he's going to come here. So we'll probably keep the shield wall up with Jost, and he'll take his free shot. Now Gerhard has a slightly better chance to hit. We'll see if he can. He does some decent damage. Well, that was a close thing. Gerhard has lost all his armor. So it's direwolves have a good chance to kill him. Here we're going to try and finish these guys off. We're doing alright at the moment. If we can kill this one, we'll be definitely doing alright because Gerhard will be not about to die. We're going to start moving Emmerich here because I expect this guy might die, but we definitely want to try and kill him. So yeah, now we're doing alright. We did take some damage, but as you can see here, all the direwolves are now fleeing. So we definitely want to position ourselves so we can try and get them killed. There we go. Gerhard got some revenge on the direwolves, and we'll go see if we can't finish this guy off. There we go. So Gerhard took some damage, so did Berengar. But overall, it was good. And we got the pelts from the direwolves. Now, the unfortunate thing about that is that's going to make us need more time to repair our equipment and heal our wounds. So we might be sitting here for a little bit longer. But we'll see. So all our equipment is repaired. Let's take our health totals here. Alright, so everyone's, well, Gerhard's not rested up yet, but that's because he has 80 hit points. So we also want to level our guys up here. So Gerhard, since he's using our two-handed axe, I will always give him the melee skill, even if it has a low roll, because I definitely want him to progress. Now, it's always a good idea to have them get bonuses to melee defense as well, since they don't have a shield, and so they need all the help they can get. Now, for his last one, we will probably upgrade his initiative, so he will go faster. Now, for my two-handers, I always get crippling strikes, which lowers the threshold to inflict injuries by 33%. And so they will just inflict more injuries upon the enemy and just generally make it a bad time for the enemy, which is always good. And that's what the role of the two-handers are. So that's what we want there. Same thing with Emmerich here. He has a pole arm, which is slightly different than the two-handed axe, but generally the same concept. So we want them to have good melee skill. Sometimes you can forego the melee defense, but since he has a decent roll, I want to take it. And here we will probably take the bonus initiative, because I also want this character to go early in the round and try and get people out of the game before they can act. So we'll do that. And since everyone's healed up generally, we'll go ahead and take this contract. Now, this kind of works the same way as the other contract we have, where there will be tracks outside of town. And we can see here, there we go. You can see these tracks leading south into this, or south and east into this forest and mountainous area. So we'll head down this way, see if we can't catch up to these direwolves. There they are. So you can see here a little bit more than what we fought in the night. There are 5 instead of 3. But so we'll see how this goes. Since we're fighting in the forest, the fights end up being a lot more chaotic. So here you can see that we are surrounded by the enemy direwolves. But we do have some good terrain here to take advantage. The unfortunate thing here is Ludolf got caught by the direwolf here, so his crossbow's not going to do him much good. So he's going to pull his dagger, and we're going to wait and see if we can't get him support. Emmerich here, he'll step towards the center. Now I think what I'm going to do, so the other skill that Emmerich has is Repel. And what Repel does is it will push, if I can hit, and I have a 66% chance to hit, which is decent. If I hit, it will push this direwolf back, which will let me bring Ludolf out of there. So I think that's what I want to try and do. And he thankfully succeeded. Now, looking here, Bernard here, he can't retreat. He's got this guy up on him. So we'll probably throw up the shield wall here and take the shot. Now, looking at this terrain down here, we have the height advantage, and they can't come up the center here. So I'm going to put Berengar here. He's going to throw up his shield wall, and he's going to wait for them to come to him. And what would be best if I got Jost here, because this would completely shut these two out. They would have to, it'd be one-on-one fight, and we have the terrain advantage. So that is in our favor. Now, Gerdar here, I think we're going to kind of block off. Put him here so that Ludolf can retreat, and then he has this blocked off. So Jost, like I said, we want to put him down here. Unfortunately, it takes all this movement to get there. But we'll bring Ludolf up on the high ground. Then he can pull out his crossbow and try and do some work. Now that direwolf is going to try and circle around here. Now the problem with leaving Gerhard here to take care of that is that since he doesn't have a shield, the direwolf can really tear through him, so we want to be careful of that. We will position ourselves. If I push it in here, I might have a clear line of fire on this direwolf, so I think that's what we want to do. Yeah, well, no, it's still blocked by Gerhard. That is the unfortunate thing about this situation, is Ludolf is not the best of uses. Or not the greatest of use, I should say. We're going to try and take this. We're going to want to try and focus these guys to kill this direwolf first. If we kill this guy up, then we have the shield walls are kind of put in the places to protect from the other direwolves. So here we are. Try and chop these guys down if we can. Bernhard is still going to keep his shield wall up. Probably going to step him up so that Gerhard here has a better chance to hit next turn if he's still around, of course. And we'll wait with Ludolf, see if he can't get a free shot or clear shot. See how this direwolf turns out. Alright, Gerhard managed to survive another turn. It's always very stressful watching this sometimes because you can grow attached to these characters quite quickly. And watching them go down is just never a good thing, especially when they refuse to hit 50% shots. That is never a fun time. Now here, we got this direwolf coming on the back, so we definitely want to keep the shield wall up. These guys, and I want to step him back because this direwolf is going to come in here. And we don't want him back to melee combat. So he'll take his step back and then take the one actual clear shot he's had so far. Still got clear shot here, so Gerhard is managing to just barely stay alive. Let's see if we can't get this guy finished off. Really? Okay. Not dead, but he is fleeing, and that is much better than Gerhard dying. So, down south here, we gotta keep trying to chop these guys down. Getting close, but... So Bernhard definitely wants to keep his shield up. He's got two in contact with him now, and he can take a lot of damage very quickly. So he definitely wants to keep his shield up. He's doing a good job so far defending himself against these two. You can see though, one thing I like about this game is that the amount of durability that your armor has is actually displayed on the character. You can see here that Gerhard, it's very hard to see on Gerhard because he has the Akadon cap on, but you can see there's a little bit of cuts in his armor. You can see here Bernhard's shield is getting roughed up. It is not going to last much longer on these two's assault, so we definitely need to try and get him some support before his shield. But I don't want it to be Gerhard because he's about to die. So he's going to take a break up here. Now Emmerich here, I might step him forward. Because if I can be on the high ground, he will have a decent defense, and he also has a better chance to hit. The unfortunate thing is that it took him a couple steps, so he can't attack. Down here, we are... Hold on, yeah, he doesn't have any weapons, so we're definitely going to keep trying to chop these guys down. So, this one is broken and fleeing, which is always good. Now, Bernhard is down to very high on his stamina, his fatigue. So I have to make a choice here. I can either attack or I can defend. But we're probably going to want to do the defense. Because it's 6 attacks that can come in at him. And if he's not blocking, that can kill him very quickly. Unfortunately, that removed Ludolf's free shot. Or clear line of fire, so we'll wait here. Emmerich took a very heavy hit to the head, lost his helmet. So here we want to keep focus firing, trying to get at least one of these guys dead. Gerhard is probably going to move up here, see if he can't do something next turn. Going to bring Jost down to give Berengar some support here. Give him a better chance to hit. Maybe we can get rid of this guy. Now Bernhard no longer can defend. I was really... So we got one hit off there, and that's all he's fatigued for. Thankfully, the fatigue broke this direwolf's morale, so he's going to make a run for it next turn. So, and Ludolf doesn't have much to do. See if we can't get past the last couple of attacks here. And that's another thing you gotta watch when people's morale breaks, is that they have a chance to recover as they run away and come back. Ludolf has a clear shot here. He manages to put down the wolf. Gerhard here, again, if I move him here, he can't attack, and it would just put him into harm's way. So he's gonna keep chilling, and we're gonna see if we can't finish off the last of these direwolves. There's one more down. That leaves us just this guy over here, plus this guy if his morale recovers. But since we have 3 of them dead and there's 2 left, that means they're probably going to start breaking and fleeing. This guy won't, since he's in combat, but this character will probably, even if his morale recovers, he will probably continue to run. So we're going to keep taking a stab at this. Hopefully still manage to avoid all the attacks being thrown our way. It's always good. Ludolf can see if he can't manages to put down that wolf as he tries to make a run for it. So let's see if we can't finish this guy off. It's not dead, but he is now fleeing, so we don't have to worry too much about him returning attacks to us now. So, see if Bernhard can't put him down. Again, since he's just fleeing now, he's not going to get any attacks, so we're going to want to run him down, see if we can't get him as he runs away. So there we are. That was kind of hairy. Definitely was a close one, but we managed to come out on top. So we got the hides, and we're going to get some money from this contract. So let's go back and get our money. But we're probably going to have a while to recover after that. We got these 2 injuries. We got the pierced arm muscles, which is why Berengar was having such a hard time hitting that direwolf. And Joss too, he also has the pierced arm muscles. So their ability to hit is very reduced. Bernhard here, he has good rolls for both melee and range skills, so we're probably going to take both of these. And then we will probably upgrade his... Trying to decide whether I want more fatigue or more melee defense. I'm probably going to settle on the melee defense. Now he has access to the 2nd level. Now, especially for the skirmishers, and generally for most of my characters, quick hands is what I generally go for, because what that allows them to do is normally it takes 4 AP, 4 action points, to swap your equipped weapon with a weapon in your inventory. With quick hands, it doesn't take any. So that just makes people more flexible. Berengar here, he has a good roll for melee attack, he has a good roll for melee defense, and we all, like I said, I'll pretty much always level up stamina, or fatigue, I should say. I always want to call it stamina, but it's fatigue. And again, quick hands. Because especially with the shield wall, if they're facing armored enemies, I always want them to have that, and enemies with shields for that matter, I always want them to have that axe out. But after the armor's dead and the shields are gone, it's generally, if I can switch them off to like a sword or something that does more damage but less damage to armor, it's always good. So Joust here increases melee attack, decent roll for melee defense, and of course fatigue. And again, I gave him the quick hands. Ludolf here, keep upping that melee attack, range defense, and we'll probably get even more initiative on him. Now for my ranged characters, generally I like to get Bullseye, because that, as you saw in that last battle, after people got into melee combat, Ludolf kind of just sat around, didn't do a whole lot. With Bullseye, it has the penalty for having the line of fire blocked, which gives him a more successful chance to shoot past the shield wall into people right in melee combat. So that's what I generally get for my ranged characters. Now, taking a quick look at our supplies, we're going to lose half our tools and supplies repairing. And so I don't think there's any more tools and supplies on sale here. There's not. There's nothing really I want to buy. Well, maybe the armor here. It's always good to upgrade your armor when you can. Let's go ahead and purchase these two leather lamellar armor. So it has more protection than this chain shirt here, so we'll equip that. Joss is going to be one in melee combat more often. We'll equip him with that. Pass down the patched mail shirt. Pass down the padded leather shirts. And go from there. So now we're going to keep going. Keep heading north, keep heading west, and see where we get there. But this episode has been running on long enough. I'm thinking we're going to end it here. Thank you so much for coming and watching my video. If you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what I'm doing right. If you think I'm doing something wrong, let me know that as well. Thank you so much for watching. Take it easy, everyone.